You're listening to the Conference Board of Canada's Mental Health and COVID-19 series with Dr. Bill Howatt, Chief of Research, Workplace Productivity.
Hi, Bill Howatt, Mental Health, COVID-19, Conference Board of Canada. Welcome. I'm going to have a conversation with you on inclusion. My motivation for this is Mr. Floyd. I'm going to be pretty short today because I want to create the opportunity to put a few things out for thoughts. I by no means going to create the illusion that I have the answers, and I by no means want to actually make this sound that I actually can give you anything else than something for you to consider that could be impactful for you. My belief, the conversation around inclusion, diversity, and especially around accepting differences and becoming aware starts with each one of us. So my motivation for this is just a chat and no one assume by any means you have bias. I believe a part of our challenge is we need to learn how to stop bias. Implicit bias is unconscious, and it happens, and many of us may not be aware of some of our implicit biases, whether it's from epigenetics, whether it's from things that we've learned or experiences observed. It doesn't really matter. If you get a chance, look at Harvard University, Google it, type in the word implicit bias, and they have a free online instrument. If you've not ever done it, it's a great self-discovery because what I'm going to do, my mnemonic is going to start with the concept around no bias. So we'll focus on the word bias. And it starts with be. Be open that you may have biases that are outside your level of awareness, or you haven't yet addressed, or you haven't yet challenged yourself. And when we start exploring our own biases, it takes courage for us to actually listen and ask questions with people around us that we may work with, that we trust, to learn and ask and say, this conversation has got me thinking about myself and help me understand, are there things that I do that take away from you? And we need to be open to asking these questions because until we get comfortable to seek to understand, most of this is going to be a facade because the people who are being biased have the answers. The people who are actually doing the bias who may or may not be aware of it. There's intentional and unintentional, and it doesn't matter to the person receiving it. The I is insist on fairness and insist on equity and insist on understanding that we have to hear from others, from Black and Asians and from others cultures, my culture, white, to learn about our different frames of reference of how they're different and are alikes so that we can appreciate each other. That's what this is about. It's about appreciating differences and listening. Because what sadly is some people get used to inequity, and that is not fair to them, and it's not fair to the collective if we truly want to be an open society. And so we really need to be bystanders so that when we see tragedies and things that are happening that are morally unjust, like what happened to that dear man, Mr. Floyd, is that we realize is that as a culture, we're better than that. And one of the things is, if you've never looked up bystander, uh, basically what bystander theory means is that people will actually, bystanders too often watch tragedy happen and they're unclear what their role is in that. So let's define our role up front very clear. It's to protect each other. And when we see other people being treated unfairly, is to make a stand to help protect people so that they don't need to go through the inequities or moral injustice. So let's be bystanders. No, let's be upstanders and not allow things that are unfair. Let's ask questions, raise. It's really important that when you're dealing with biases to accept that you have a perspective and a view of the world. And you're allowed to have that. What you're not allowed to do is your perspective take away from another human being. We have decided, we have to make some decisions if we're a free society with free will and liberty and equity and social constructs where we walk around in a country as beautiful as Canada and we interact with each other, are we really all this providing each other this opportunity for the same experience? And are our perspectives of not becoming aware that our experiences may not be the same as other people and deciding we're not okay with it being unfair? And until we each, so someone like myself who has many privileges that I may not even actually comprehend what my privileges are being a white Anglo-Saxon male. So it's opening up that vulnerability to start that conversation, because it's not about losing power or giving up power. It's about creating energy for all so we can thrive, so that we can get along better than we are. And so that our children and my grandchildren, that the society we say aspirationally we actually become. And that starts, the last one is S. If you want to understand about another culture, if you want to learn how to work with different cultures and you don't have clarity, you don't need to be an actor and you don't need to have all the answers. All you need to be willing to do is seek to understand and ask questions and and build relationships. And through your questions to seek to understand, the person who's in another culture, from another culture, is the expert in their experience. They can educate you about what was helpful to them and where they have been mistreated, so that you can help prevent it by observing for those misjustices, by learning and listening with them. So, what I guess in a very complex time where we're at right now, I'm just hoping this is just not a moment in time. I'm hoping this has created some momentum for us to get real about this, and so that we can start having new conversations and learning and growing. And I wish I had the answers. I don't. One answer I do have for all of us is to look in a mirror now. What about ourselves? And what bias can we deal with? And we might, if each one of us learn a little bit more and get a little bit better through time, and it will take time, there'll be some healing, some learning, some growing, and we can be in a better place than we are today. So with that, I wish you the best. I just ask you to think about this, and if you, nothing more, take responsibility for yourself. Think about what you can do to help people who are different than you, so that they can feel equal and the same, and allow them the opportunity to get to know who you are, the real you, through conversations and questions. So with that, have a great day. I wish you all the best. I hope you do some thinking on this. It's important. Hi, Bill Howatt here. Hopefully you're finding these videos of some value. If you'd like to share these, on the lower right of your video, there's a icon you can click. You can send it through your social media feeds. Join the Conference Board of Canada social media feed so we can keep you up to date. And if you have ideas, suggestions, please leave your comment so we can consider them. And if you have things that you'd like us to speak to, I certainly will try to do all I can to help out. With that, have a wonderful day.